I was born beneath a sky carved from brass. The twin sons of Archeon hung motionless above the jagged cliffs of my village, Corveth, their light unforgiving, their judgment absolute. On this cursed soil, silence was sacred, and screams were currency. My name no longer matters. They stripped it from me the moment they chose me for the offering. We are the Valari, a species once blessed with bioluminescent threads beneath our skin, storytellers of song and shadow. But under the Dominion's reign, we became trophies, traded across galaxies for our beauty, our docility, our myths. The Dominion said they would protect us from extinction. Instead, they curated our extinction like a banquet. The offering takes place once every crimson season, an ancient rite, they claimed. One female, always a Valari, is chosen by the matron caste. She is dressed in sapphire glass robes, placed atop the Tower of Ash, and burned alive beneath 1 billion watching eyes across the hyperfeed. They call it culture, art, a lesson in obedience. They call it a feast. 3 rotations ago, they chose me. I was dragged from my sleep pod by guards in armor etched with the Dominion's emblem, a coiling serpent devouring a sun. No explanation, no appeal. My bondmate Yenthos did not protest. He did not raise a hand or speak my name. He only turned away as if I had already died. The betrayal should have stung. It didn't. Yenthos had always feared power more than he loved me. They took me to the Temple of Molten Grace, a cathedral carved from obsidian and stitched with veins of fire steel. There, in chambers cold as voids between stars, they fitted the ceremonial threads through my skin. It was not pain I felt, it was resignation. Like a ghost mourning its body before death had finished the job. High Matron Shirasa approached me. She wore the bones of past offerings braided into her hair. "You will bring us prosperity," she whispered, her breath like melted frost, "as all the good daughters do." I spat at her sandals. They lashed me to the pyre of Elikarn. It rose from the center of the amphitheater like a spear through the planet's heart. Every seat in the Colosseum of Woe was filled. Thousands of species gathered in gluttony, their eyes gleaming, their hands moist with desire. They paid in fortunes to watch us burn. I could see the pleasure priests of Albaris, the technocrats of Vidras Prime, the emotionless nobles of Terran Kai, and far above, in floating glass chambers, Dominion officials who watched as gods behind curved lenses. A voice boomed from the sky. "Today we honor the cycle. Let the offering commence." The crowd erupted, not in horror but ecstasy. The pyre ignited beneath my feet. The glass robes began to shimmer, converting heat into dazzling colors, a last cruelty. They wanted my death to be beautiful. They wanted to devour every scream, every flinch, every ember. I clenched my jaw and looked beyond the flames. I would not scream. I would not give them that. That's when I saw him. Not in the audience, not among the elite. He stood at the base of the amphitheater where no one stood. His face was bare. His skin was not scaled or furred or plated. It was soft, pale, unaugmented, human. He stared at me, not like I was a spectacle, but like I was real. He wasn't supposed to be here. The humans were exiled from Dominion worlds a decade ago after they refused to offer their own species to the feast. Their defiance cost them planets, but this one, he had slipped through. He stepped forward. The guards aimed plasma halberds at him, but he didn't flinch. He moved like a blade through fog, silent, deliberate, terrifying. I saw the moment he made his decision. He ran toward me, toward the fire, toward the flames. "No!" a matron shrieked. The crowd howled, not in joy now, but confusion, dissonance. The feed cameras shifted, catching him in full. He was tall, worn. A strange mark crossed his jaw like a tribal etching. His eyes held no fear. He leapt over the barrier. The fire roared, and then impact. Everything turned white. The pyre exploded in glass and heat. I felt hands, strong, real, human, pull me from the post. The heat should have killed us both. But it didn't. His body shielded mine, even as shards tore through flesh. Blood hit my lips. Not mine. His. He had come for me. The roar of the amphitheater collapsed into chaos. Guards shouted, weapons fired, drones blinked and fizzled. But somehow, we were moving. He held me like a soldier cradling an oath, navigating, burning wreckage as though he'd memorized the path in dreams. "Who are you?" I gasped. He didn't look at me. "Name's not important. Not yet." His voice. It wasn't like the others. It had weight, grit, but something softer hidden beneath the thunder. We reached a hidden hatch beneath the arena floor. How did he know? He slammed a code into the panel. The door screamed open. "I saw what they do to your kind," he said. "I couldn't watch anymore." "You came to die?" "No, I came to interrupt the show." Before I could speak again, the floor closed behind us. Darkness swallowed the pyre. The fire above raged. But down here, in this forgotten shaft of rusted metal and echoing silence, I felt something I hadn't in years. Hope. The tunnel moaned with the weight of a forgotten age. Each step echoed like a curse spoken by the dead. I clung to the human's shoulder, barely able to breathe through the smoke still curling down from the shattered pyre above. "Where are we?" I managed, though my voice cracked like scorched glass. He adjusted the ruined clasp on his jacket, revealing a shoulder wound oozing plasma red. Maintenance route. Buried when the Dominion rebuilt the Colosseum. It's not on any map anymore. "You've been here before," I said. He hesitated. "Not exactly." His name still eluded me. I had seen him only moments ago, a stranger on the edge of fire. Now I was bleeding beside him in the hollow guts of a planet that wanted us both dead. I studied his features in the low emergency lights lining the corridor. He was unlike any being I had known. Not just human, untouched. No cybernetics, no neural weave, not even ocular enhancements. In the Dominion, that kind of purity was heresy, which meant he wasn't just a rebel, he was a relic. "I owe you my life," I said, breaking the silence. "But why me?" He stopped walking. The air between us thickened. "Because once," he said slowly, "I watched them burn someone I loved. I didn't move. I let it happen." His voice cracked on the last word, as though the memory had been buried under decades of stone and shame. "What was her name?" "Salen," he said. "She wasn't Valari, but they lit the flames all the same." I didn't ask more. Pain like that didn't need to be excavated. It was already written in the lines on his face, the limp in his stride, the way he never let his back face the dark. We pressed on deeper into the catacombs. The walls narrowed, then widened again into an atrium filled with rusted machinery and discarded statues of forgotten emperors. A dried-up fountain stood at the center, its basin carved with alien runes I didn't recognize. He helped me sit beside it. My legs trembled beneath me, still unhealed from the ceremonial piercing. The threads in my skin glowed faintly, a cruel reminder of what I had been dressed to become. "You need medical attention," I murmured. "You're losing too much blood." He shrugged off the concern like smoke. "There's a med cache buried, not far from here. Old rebel stockpile, I can patch us up." He pulled a compact tool from his belt and pried open a floor panel, revealing a small locked case. Within seconds, he had it open. Injectors, synth gel, fusion patches, and a strange, metallic orb etched with a flickering glyph. "What's that?" I asked as he pressed a patch to his shoulder. "Pulse scrambler," he said. "We'll keep the Dominion blind to our biosignatures for a while, but not forever." "Then where do we go?" He looked at me for a long time. "Off-world." I laughed, bitter and hollow. "No one leaves Archeon without clearance. Not even ghosts." "That's why I stole a ship." I blinked. "You what?" Parked it outside the refinery zone. Old stealth-class Corvette. Enough cloaking to sneak us through the orbital mesh. You risked all of this for a stranger? He looked down. I didn't do it for you. I did it because no one else would. A silence settled between us again, heavy with meaning. Then a rumble shook the atrium. He was on his feet in an instant. Patrols! They're scanning the old tunnels. How? Did they find us? He pointed at the glowing threads in my arms. Those things. They're still broadcasting. Ceremonial implants. They're live-streamed through Dominion satellites. They're tracking you. I stared at my arms in horror. The delicate patterns that once shimmered with pride now burned. With betrayal, he knelt beside me and pulled out a knife. I can cut them. I hesitated. They've already stripped everything else from you, he said. Don't let them keep this too. I nodded. The pain was nothing compared to the fire, compared to the betrayal, compared to watching my own people cheer my death. As he cut each embedded thread from beneath my skin, I felt lighter, freer, as if the pieces of me they had owned were finally mine again. Blood pooled beneath me, but I didn't cry. I never caught your name, I whispered through clenched teeth. He paused, then said, Call me Riven. Riven, I repeated. It felt strange on my tongue. Solid. Final. I need yours too, he said. I thought for a moment. My birth name had been erased, recorded, in Dominion archives and sold to the highest bidder. So I gave him one I forged for myself, right there in the shadow of a dying world. Call me Sera. He nodded. Then the tunnel shook again, louder this time. Lights flickered. A robotic voice hissed from distant vents. Unauthorized escapee detected. Deploying recon units. Riven grabbed my hand. We move now. Stay close. We sprinted. Through collapsing corridors, ducking falling beams and ruptured pipes. Behind us, red beams sliced through the dark, scout drones, weaponized for immediate disintegration. Riven tossed a smoke pod behind us. Explosions followed. I felt the heat, on my back as we dove into another shaft. The end of the tunnel opened into a shattered chamber filled with decaying ships. The wreck yard. He pointed toward a small, curved vessel resting beneath collapsed scaffolding. Sleek, scarred, beautiful in its defiance. That's ours, he said. But before we reached it, the ground exploded. 2 Dominion drones emerged from the smoke, their claws clicking, plasma guns charged. Riven shoved me behind cover. I screamed, Riven, don't! But he didn't hesitate. He drew a kinetic blade, the edges singing with magnetic pulses, and charged the first drone. Metal screamed as sparks burst in every direction. The second drone aimed for me. I crawled behind a console, heart pounding. I grabbed a rusted pipe, useless against plasma, but still, something. The drone scanned for me, mechanical voice whispering, Offering located. Terminate. Then a shot rang out. Not plasma. Ballistic. The drone dropped, half its head blown apart. Riven stood behind it, gun smoking, arm bleeding. Didn't think I'd let them touch you again, he said, breathing heavy. He limped to the ship, slicing. The entry seal. The hatch hissed open. We stumbled inside as alarms howled behind us. As the door sealed shut and the engines rumbled to life, I collapsed in the co-pilot seat, barely able to comprehend what had just happened. I looked at him. Riven, the man who jumped into fire. The man who defied an empire. You're insane, I said. He smirked. Takes one to save one. As the ship lifted off, leaving the burning city behind, I felt something awaken in me. Not love. Not yet. But the first glimmer of something I thought I had lost forever. A future. The ship's walls whispered, not with voices but memories, scorched into the hull, echoing down fiber veins and microconductive filaments. Every creak of metal was a story untold. Riven piloted in silence, jaw set, eyes scanning the blur of stars through the cracked viewport. Outside, the Dominion's reach faded, slowly but never completely. Their satellites spun like metal vipers in orbit, hunting with patient cruelty. We had slipped between their teeth, but we had not escaped their throat. How long before they track us again? I asked, watching the trails of broken constellations. Depends, Riven said, flicking switches with muscle memory. If the pulse scrambler holds and we stay in the drift, 12 hours. After that, they'll light up every relay net from here to the edge of the Morrow span. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew 12 hours wasn't long. The cockpit hummed, low and steady. In the passenger seat, I examined the scars on my arms where the ceremonial threads had been torn. The skin was still raw, but no longer glowing. They'll still be looking for me, I murmured. They'll be looking for both of us, Riven corrected. You're a symbol now, and I'm the idiot who set their empire on fire for you. I turned to him. Why do you care so much about symbols? He didn't answer immediately. Then, because once a symbol saved me. The silence that followed didn't need to be filled. Instead, I stood and wandered into the back compartment of the ship. It was cramped, barely enough space for 2 people to live, let alone survive. There was an old grav bed bolted to the floor, a shelf of patched-together weaponry, and a faded photograph embedded into the wall. A woman. Human. Smiling. Salen? I whispered. He had loved her once. The way he looked at me now wasn't the same, but it carried echoes. I reached toward the picture, then stopped. Some ghosts weren't mine to disturb. There was something else taped beside it, a list, names, dozens of them, written in Riven's scrawl, Valari, Calphi, Drexen, species I had never heard of. Each name crossed out, except mine, Sera. The last one written, I swallowed hard and returned to the cockpit. You've done this before, I said. He didn't deny it. Tried. Failed. Most times, I was too late. But not this time. He nodded, once. Then the console beeped. A proximity alert. What is it? He leaned forward. Uncharted vessel. No ID tags. It's waiting. Not moving. Ambush? No, he said slowly. It's a message. Before I could speak, the comms burst alive with static. A voice followed, raspy, synthetic, ancient. To the one who stole the offering, listen. Well, the voice made my blood chill. You carry something we require. The Valari female is not a person. She is a keystone. Her blood holds the resonance code to the gate of Solthus. Without her, the Dominion's ascension fails. Return her, or watch 1,000 worlds burn in her name. Then silence. Riven looked at me. They're bluffing, I said, but even I didn't believe it. He opened a drawer beneath the console and pulled out a small cube of obsidian, black, but alive with faint veins of gold. It pulsed when he brought it near me. What is that? Resonance reader, he said. Old tech, used during the Culling Wars, identifies frequency signatures tied to quantum relics. He held it closer. It glowed brighter. You're keyed, he said softly. To what? He stared at the cube. The gate of Solthus, whatever that is. I shook my head. I'm just a dancer, a singer. They chose me because I had symmetrical skin patterns. That's it. No, he said. They chose you because your blood can open something they've been trying to reach for a long time. But I didn't ask for this. Neither did the thousands they've burned before you. We sat in silence as the stars watched. Then what do we do? I asked. Riven exhaled slowly. We go where they don't expect, to someone who might know what the gate really is, someone the Dominion tried to erase. He punched in coordinates. Her name is Mother Vex, he said. She lives beyond the driftwall, inside the dead zone of Marrow Spindle. No satellites, no light, just dust and ghosts. She's alive? Barely. But if anyone knows what you are, it's her. The ship buckled slightly as it shifted course. Lights flickered. The driftwall was no place for living things. Radiation storms, time fractures, planes of gravity where ships turned inside out. But it was also the perfect hiding place for ancient truths. As we crossed into the edge of the dead zone, I saw the stars vanish, one by one, swallowed by a blackness deeper than night. Then something flickered on the outer hull, like fingers dragging across the metal. I leaned close to the viewport. "What is that?" Riven's voice dropped. "Don't look too long. The drift sees you back." We descended. 3 hours later, we landed on a skeletal platform barely suspended above a sea of cracked moon bones. Towers jutted upward like teeth from a rotting jaw. The only light came from bioluminescent spores drifting like snow. A figure awaited us, not a woman. Not exactly. Something between human and machine wrapped in cables and bone-woven cloth. Her face was obscured by a porcelain mask shaped like a weeping eye. "You bring the fire," she rasped, "and the ember who escaped it." "Mother Vex," Riven said, lowering his head. Her voice echoed without breath. "The Dominion burns what it fears, but they do not burn without purpose." She turned to me. "You dream of freedom, child, but your blood dreams of stars older than language." Stepped back. She raised a skeletal hand and touched my temple. My mind flooded with images, not memories but blueprints, machines larger than moons, voices speaking in forgotten tones, and a key, forged not from metal, but from me. I fell to my knees, gasping. "You are the gate," she whispered. "And the lock. You are not their offering. You are their weapon, or their undoing." Riven helped me stand. "Can we destroy it?" Mother Vex laughed, a sound like broken clocks. "You can run, but the Dominion does not chase shadows. It erases them." Then she handed me a shard of black crystal. "Take this. It is not salvation, but it is memory, the part of you they tried to bury." I took it. The ship rumbled again. Sensors screamed. A Dominion cruiser had entered the dead zone. "They found us," Riven said. "But how?" I asked. "They no longer care if they survive the drift," Vex replied. "They only care that you don't." She turned toward the spore-covered cliffs and disappeared. We ran. Back to the ship. Back to the fire waiting in the sky. As we lifted off and the first shockwave hit the landing platform, I looked at Riven. "They'll follow us to the edge of creation," he nodded. "Then we'll make the edge bleed." And for the first time in my life, I felt it, not just hope, but fury, the kind that builds empires or tears them down. I used to believe survival was victory. That if you crawled out of the fire breathing, bleeding, and half whole, you had won. But survival isn't peace. Not when the entire galaxy knows your name. Not when your blood is the ignition of extinction. They were coming for me, not to burn me again, but to use me, to open the gate of Salthus, to claim a weapon the Dominion had unearthed before the stars were even born, and I would rather die than let them use me. The cruiser that followed us from the eye. Driftwall wasn't a ship, it was a city, a cathedral, carved from meteor bones, bristling with solar harpoons and brain-linked gunners wired directly into the hull. Riven and I had 1 hour before they reached us. He rerouted every drop of fuel to the stealth drives. He was a blur, hands blistered, eyes ringed with war stress. He didn't speak, but he didn't need to. We both knew what this was, a last stand. I held the shard Mother Vex gave me, a sliver of black crystal that pulsed like a heartbeat. It hummed louder the closer we drifted toward the Salthus coordinates, an abandoned system, all planets pulverized, orbiting a blue dwarf star on the edge of spatial decay. Nothing should exist there. And yet, there it was, a ring of obsidian, stone floating in vacuum, rotating slowly, etched with glyphs that curled like breath on glass. The gate. The thing the Dominion murdered trillions to reach. I felt my blood stir. Something ancient moved in my marrow, pulling me toward it. I didn't want it. Not the power, not the truth, but I was bound to it. By birth, by blood, by betrayal I never agreed to. Riven joined me at the viewport. "They'll be here soon," he said. "What happens if I open it?" I don't know, he admitted. But I do know what happens if they do. We stared at the gate. I was grown in a chamber, I said. Not born. 1,000 others like me, sculpted, designed. But I was the only one who survived the second ignition. Riven didn't flinch. They told us we were chosen, that we were blessed, but we were test subjects. And when I started singing in harmonics only the gate responded to, they marked me as an offering. He looked at me. You're not what they made you. No, I said. I'm what they feared I'd become. We didn't wait for the cruiser to catch us. We flew straight to the gate. As the ship crossed the event radius, everything changed. Time dilated. Colors bled. My thoughts no longer came one by one. They arrived all at once, stacked atop one another like chords in an orchestra only I could hear. The gate responded to me. It opened like a flower of glass, petal by petal, vast, cold, impossible. Inside was a structure, not a ship, not a weapon, a vault. Within it, not fire or metal or death, but memories of civilizations long erased, of voices from species that had transcended flesh. They had left behind everything in that vault: knowledge, power, history. The Dominion hadn't. Wanted to destroy the galaxy. They wanted to rewrite it. We docked at the gate's outer edge. Riven readied weapons. We blow the control core. We bury it all. But I touched the crystal, and it spoke. Not in words, in memories. I saw myself. Not just this body, but others. Versions of me, echoing through timelines. A recursive genetic code seeded through generations. I wasn't an accident. I was designed by something older than the Dominion. A failsafe, the final key to unlock the past. Riven noticed my silence. What is it? I've been alive longer than I remember, I said. Pieces of me, sent across history like a message, in a bottle. He stared at me, realization dawning. You're not a weapon. I looked at the swirling archives inside the gate. No, I'm the countermeasure. And the Dominion knew. That's why they wanted me back. Not to use me, to erase me, before I activated the knowledge that would dismantle their rule. Then the cruiser arrived. It didn't send drones, it didn't fire, it opened a channel. A hologram flickered into the air, a tall figure. No armor, no title. Just Eric's Taylor, the man who designed the offering program. My dear, he said, calm as velvet. You don't understand what you're holding. Yes, I do, I said. You built me, but you didn't finish me. He smiled faintly. You're right. You were the incomplete verse, the unsung note. Now, come home, and we'll fix that. I'd rather burn. His smile died. Then we'll carve the truth from your corpse. The fight was brief, because I didn't run. I stepped into the heart of the vault, with Riven beside me. I placed the crystal in the obelisk's core. It recognized me, my blood, my breath, my pain, and it responded. The gate's petals closed. Light spun. Across the galaxy, every Dominion relay lit up like wildfire, and truth flooded the void. Every lie they told, every name they erased, every offering they sacrificed, restored, broadcast into every planet, every terminal, every mind. There was no more hiding, only reckoning. The cruiser tried to flee. It didn't get far. The vault detonated, not with fire, but with memory, the kind that corrupts tyrants. The kind that makes soldiers drop their guns and remember they were once sons and daughters. The gate collapsed behind us as we flew into the drift. We never went back. We couldn't. Riven set course for the Seran fringe, uncharted space where old laws don't reach. He gave me the pilot's seat. Said I'd earned it. We didn't speak of what we left behind, but sometimes I'd catch him watching me. Not like he watched Salen's memory, but like I was something new, something worth surviving for. I was once an offering. Now I am the memory. that burns their empire down, and this time I won't be the one in the fire. I'll be the one holding the torch.